I'd like to welcome everybody back. So we're now on to what may be the main event here tonight. We're going to hear from the candidates running for county executive office. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to start off with giving each of the candidates an opportunity, 2 minutes, to introduce themselves and tell them why they're running. And then we'll go through 6 rounds of questioning. When we get to that, I'll explain how we'll do that, and I'll try my best not to get it knotted up. But so we're going to go in order of introduction. It'll be Mr. Coates, Ms. Hornberg, Dr. McCarthy, and Mr. Mcdowell. Start with you, Bill, and you've got 2 minutes to introduce yourself, please.
Thank you, Mike. Good evening. I'm Bill Coates, and I'm running to be your county executive here in Cecil County. I'm running for county executive for 3 reasons. First and foremost, I'm a homegrown Cecil County citizen. Being a lifelong citizen, growing up on farms here in Elkton and Calvert, has provided me with a connection with the Cecil County citizens. This connection has driven a lifelong commitment to stay here in Cecil County and work with my fellow citizens. I've listened intently to those people, and they've asked me to run for this office and bring the government back to all the people, not the fortunate few. Secondly, I have a background of positive leadership based on 30+ years of private business, 15+ years of voluntary service, and 2 years of government service. Third, I've developed a forward-thinking vision for Cecil County. My professional background has given me a deeper understanding of where the county needs to go to have a successful and sustainable future. Public safety, accountable education, and economic development will drive that future success. These reasons have developed because of a deep appreciation that I have for communication. That communication is with the everyday citizens in Cecil County. That open communication will extend to my administration and to the citizens that we serve. My administration will be based on merit, not based on fear and reward. My office and administration will be here for the people of Cecil County. It will be here for the people because I care. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hornberg?
Could everyone hear him fine? Should I do the same thing?
Yeah, why don't you take the mic? And
Okay, all right. All right. I'm a mother, a former teacher, and a community liaison for Congressman Andy Harris. To put it simply, I'm running for county executive because in each of these roles, I've seen the impact that higher taxes and bad government have on Cecil County families. Over the last 4 years, property taxes are up, income taxes are up, and county spending has skyrocketed. At some point, we have to say enough is enough. We're taxed too much already by the liberal politicians in Annapolis, and our county leaders should be doing everything in their power to make Cecil County more affordable for families and Cecil County government work better for the residents. Unfortunately, we haven't seen that over the last 4 years. Instead, we've watched our county executive propose endless tax increases and treat taxpayers like ATMs. That's not what I'm about. As a mother, I care about public safety and know we need to go above and beyond to create jobs and opportunities for the next generation. As a teacher, I understand the needs to invest in our public school in a way that delivers results. And as a community liaison for Congressman Harris, I see the needs and frustrations of families in our county just trying to make ends meet. I'm also a delegate for President Trump to the Republican National Convention, and when he says he's gone to work, he means it. Lower taxes, more jobs, safer communities, and an end to the business as usual of politics. That's the work that I want to do as county executive. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hornberg. Next, Dr. McCarthy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ratchford. Good morning. My name is Alan McCarthy. I'm seeking re-election as a county executive. During my tenure, I have established a solid foundation to prepare Cecil County for growth and a prosperous future. I have come to realize 2 critical factors. The potential for growth and prosperity is limitless. And also, in order to reach our potential, we need to exhibit a positive can-do attitude. During my administration, we have followed a comprehensive plan by installing infrastructure in the growth areas while preserving the rural character of Cecil County. Wastewater facilities are being built and upgraded to the highest nutrient standards to protect public safety as well as the environment. We've provided strong support for our public schools, college, as well as the library. Regarding safety and security, we instituted a salary and benefit package that will enable us to recruit and retain qualified individuals in our public safety agencies and government as well. We are working hard to eliminate and defeat the devastating opioid fentanyl epidemic that has wreaked havoc in our community. I've supported the volunteer fire companies has never been greater. Concerning and relating to health and activities, we've expanded parks and recreational facilities. We've initiated wellness programs to address the needs of all citizens. We are providing after-school programs for our children also. As your county executive, I have embedded the vision that we can and must be better tomorrow than we were today. We must never be satisfied with status quo and must strive to provide the very best for our citizens. I am proud to be a conservative Republican. I am proud to serve as your county executive. Our efforts are far from being complete, and I ask for your vote to support us for another 4 years. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Mcdowell, 2 minutes, please. We'll let it calm down.
Thank you. My name is Ewing Mcdowell, and I'm running to be your next county executive because I want to bring a new vision to Cecil County, one of innovation and technology. Over the last few years, many years, we've spent huge sums of money, rightly so, in our education system in STEAM funding and programs. We need to bring those jobs here so the people we've educated can come here and work. I believe in a vocational education to a much greater degree. I believe we should have a vocational high school. That high school should also include an incubation and an innovation center that would be open to all, including the college. I have strong support for the schools. I come from a family of teachers. My mother and sister, both retired teachers here in the county. And to Bob Meffley, his father was one of the principals my mother had a pleasure of serving with. While I was in school, I was president of County Association of Student Councils, and before we had a citizen or a student member on the school board, that was the job of the president. So I had the privilege of getting to know how the school board ran and the effectiveness. I believe in agriculture. I believe profits drive agriculture and preservation of farmer-owned land. I will do all I can to cut regulations, decrease mandate, get rid of paperwork for the farmers. I believe in maintaining our ag professional here in the county. It's an invaluable service, and I will start an ag council at the cabinet level. I believe in home and business ownership. It's a struggle now with all the fees, the permits, the paperwork, they need to be cut. I will bring 40 years of business experience, 20 with my own international business, 4 years of leadership with Governor Hogan, vast leadership in community organizations, and extensive GOP leadership, and I was 2007 Republican of the Year in Maryland. Thank you.
So our panelists for this evening are Josh Hugel with AUI Power, Miss Lori Rinko, President and Cecil County Classroom Teachers Association, and she has taught for 23 years in the Northeast Middle School. Ms. Sharon Pelham is the Business Development Director for Cecil County, APFGCU. Did I get all those initials right? Okay. I tried. And finally, Mr. Scott Sturgill, who's the Principal at West End Capital and a longtime leader in this community. So we appreciate the 4 of you being here this evening.
The citizens of Cecil County followed state-prescribed procedures to create and adopt the comprehensive plan to guide development within county borders. First, what is your assessment of the comprehensive plan? And second, do you believe there is need for change? And if yes, what change?
Yes, the comprehensive plan in Cecil County, I guess they want to use this after all, right? The comprehensive plan in Cecil County has been adopted and been in place now for I believe 10 years. And that comprehensive plan has done a good job of identifying the different portions of the county that we are looking for different things from. Our growth corridor between the I-95 and Route 40 arteries has prospered. We have done well to keep our industrial and logistical plants and warehouses in that area, while preserving the northern and southern areas where we have kept the rural imprint of Cecil County in place. Our agricultural has been located in those areas, and that is also a big business for Cecil County. To the idea of change, yes, every county has the opportunity and probably the need to change. As we develop, as we grow, change is part of that process. And we need to control that change. We need to change responsibly. We need to grow responsibly. We have something here that's very unique along the I-95 corridor on the East Coast, and that is the ability to maintain a rural beauty that I had the privilege to grow up here in. I lived in a rural area in Calvert, and before that in Elkton on farms. And without those, I don't believe that we would be the county that we are. I don't believe I would be the person that we are. I don't believe that this county would prosper the way that we have. We just need to take into account that we are on this I-95 corridor. Inherently, businesses want to come here and will come here. We don't need to increase the tax incentives that we're giving to these businesses just to make sure that they will come here. We have the inherent qualities that they're looking for, and we can and will grow this county in a responsible manner.
Thank you.
I do believe there is need for change to start off with. My assessment of the comprehensive plan is we have a growth corridor, and it is for economic growth, and we have another area or areas that are labeled for different things. I actually can't remember if there are 6 or 7 different areas, but we do have areas that are meant just for agriculture, and we have areas that are designated specifically for economic growth and the like. I do think that we need to be mindful of how we grow in that growth corridor. I think we need to take care and foster this beautiful county that most of us either have lived in all of our lives or chose to live here. Our county is beautiful. We have a rural culture that I don't think needs to be segmented into one specific area and another specific area, and then one corridor that we just throw our hands up in the air and say, hey, whatever can come as long as it gains us revenue. That's not the answer. We need to be thoughtful about the revenue sources that we bring in. We need to be thoughtful about who we bring into the county and what businesses are putting up shop here. I think that if we continue to just bring distribution warehouses in the large front, it's not going to bode well ultimately for Cecil County.
Thank you, Ms. Hornberger.
At this particular point in time, I do not think the comprehensive plan needs to change. The comprehensive plan, as previously stated, is a living document. It was created by the citizens, the municipalities, with the participation of the county government. It represents the true desires and wills of people of Cecil County. They do have the desire to change it at any time that it's necessary. Now, from a practical and from an executive point of view, the development of the strategic plan and the development of 2 major characteristics. One is the rural conservation districts, which are designed to basically promote farming, agricultural initiatives, and forestry, needs to be kept in place in order for us to maintain the character and also the rural heritage that we have. The comprehensive plan also speaks to a growth corridor which has been chosen to be between Route 40 and Route 95. We can concentrate our utility developments, which saves money. It attracts people into Cecil County. We put the water there, we put the sewer there, we're improving the road conditions. It also will serve for housing people. As we move forward with this program, you're seeing a great deal of incentives for people to come here, businesses to come here, and we've expanded our tax base tremendously, which is the issues that these other folks have spoken to. By doing what we're doing right now, we will not have to raise taxes in the foreseeable future. So thank you very much.
So one of the stipulations that comes with having a state-assisted comp plan is that it be reviewed every 10 years. It's not mandated, but it's highly suggested. In planning, there's new tools, new developments, new programs developed on an annual basis. If that plan is reviewed every 10 years, then those stipulations, those ideas, those plans can be put in a new comprehensive plan. I think it should be done by an appointed citizen group like it has before, and then open to public meetings so they can have input. I think the comprehensive plan is a public document owned by the taxpayers. And when elected, that's the first thing I'll do, is to go through a full comprehensive plan review. Thank you.
Okay.
What do you believe are the most significant public safety issues that must be confronted? Please explain your answer.
Thank you, Ms. Pelham. I believe that public safety is of utmost priority to Cecil County. We would obviously start with the opioid issue. Obviously, the opioid epidemic is something that is not an easy fix, but it's something that we need to really take a good hard look at and come to a position of strength and understanding, meeting with different players and other people from around the area, such as delegates, senators, other local representatives who are aware of the issue, not only in Cecil County, but have ideas that they can bring to the table from their areas. I do know that in Harford County, for example, they have some programs in place that we do not have in place, such as answering the response of these citizens who are in desperate need of our outreach, and they're not getting it. So that would be something that we need to work towards in the first segment of that. Secondly, I think that as public safety is looked at, we need to make sure that we are taking care of those individuals who are taking care of us, right? We need to take care of our representatives who work in public safety and who are volunteers in this field, and make sure that they are well represented by their county. That's what I think we need to do. Thank you, Ms. Pelham.
Thank you.
Obviously, the most important public safety issue would be that associated with heroin and mental health issues. I think that it's very important for us to identify these issues very early in people's lives and apply corrective procedures as best as we can. I think that we need to support the Cecil County Sheriff's Office as best as we can and make certain he has a full complement of deputies to basically enforce the laws properly. We also need to basically try to educate students to keep them from ever getting on opioids to begin with. Most of the crime that we're seeing in the county system right now is associated with opioid addiction or the procurement of drugs. They filled up our detention centers. We're basically have a tremendous issue with people coming from other states to receive methadone and other treatments which are many times not afforded in other areas. If we could get our hands around the opioid epidemic, I think we would reduce our crime significantly and also would save a huge amount of money. The entire detention center, which holds close to 300 people, is essentially full of people that are either drug addicts or people who basically committed crimes to procure their drugs. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I agree with the other members of the panel that mental health and opioid abuse are critical parts of public safety in the county. I do believe that government plays an important role in that, but it can't be done without faith-based and community-based organizations. They have to be brought in because they have the passion to fix the problem. First responders, it's critical that they're supported and both financially and with a bully pulpit, so people provide them with the respect they need and deserve. I think I-95 is a huge issue for our first responders and fire companies. I think that there needs to be funding acquired to provide the necessary equipment and the necessary safety standards to operate, to do their jobs on I-95. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I think we've come to the agreement that the opioid issue is a concern. But I want to take a step back from that and let's address the areas that we have to address to get to the opioid crisis. And I like to call it not just the opioid crisis, it's a general substance abuse crisis. It doesn't matter if it's opioids, fentanyl, heroin, alcohol, it doesn't matter. It is a substance abuse problem. The primary objective of government, especially at this level, is public safety. Public safety is something that we can't provide for ourselves on an individual basis. One of the things that we have to look at is our volunteer firefighters. They have and continue to be the first line of defense when the citizens make that call. We need to re-examine the funding position of the county and make sure that we are adequately upfront funding this county asset. EMS services are the first responders that we rely on to aid our families in those critical times of need. Our dispatchers are struggling with positions being unfilled and unsustainable work schedules. We must do better. Law enforcement has a huge task in front of them. They've done an amazing job being thrust into the environment that they have been thrust into. Additional personnel and resources need to be allocated to them to fight crime and the substance abuse issues that we just spoke of. These things can't be accomplished by just talking about them. We actually have to go in, reprioritize our budget system, make sure that these become the primary objective for county government. Thank you.
Some sections of road front on Route 40 between Perryville and Elkton are not the most aesthetically pleasing. Can anything be done to correct this? And if so, what?
Many things can be done to basically improve the aesthetics. One of the most important things we need to do is continue to install the infrastructure, which is water, sewer, and natural gas, which is already in place. Once this is done, I think that these properties will basically increase in value, and with water and sewer, people will find economical and sensible uses for these, which will further develop Cecil County. There's been quite a complaint about the trash, and I would suggest that people who litter should stop doing that. That's an important thing, in my opinion. I can't force that, and certainly the police department doesn't have the assets to enforce all these issues. But I think as we mature and develop as a county, this Route 40 growth corridor will fill in, and you'll see people taking pride in many of these properties, which are currently now, I'm not going to say uninhabited, but basically are not used for any particularly good purpose. Thank you.
So the properties are there. A lot of those are a valuable service to society. They're recycling centers. They're there because they're zoned to be there. If the county wants to change that, then they need to assist these businesses in finding a viable alternative and not just shutting them down. Where that is, it should be up to the planning commission to find them a nice, safe place to have a recycling center. Take those properties on Route 40 and find economic development opportunities for people that want to put businesses there. I think that's a pretty good answer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. McDowell.
Thank you, Mr. Rico. Yes, there are things that can be done. You know, we were talking earlier, and one of the things that came up is not just the aesthetic portions of it. We have roads here in the county, and specifically that, probably all of you that drove here this evening either steered around or hit a pothole along the way. And we've talked an awful lot about all of the infrastructure growth that has happened, and yet our roads are still in that state of disrepair. I think that goes right along with the aesthetics of that. If we had done the road repairs and kept our roads in the condition that's necessary, perhaps these businesses would have improved. Perhaps we wouldn't be just consumed by recycling centers, as Mr. Ewing pointed out. Perhaps we could have other businesses that are there that would improve the look of the aesthetics of that road frontage that we have there. We've got a lot of work left to do as far as infrastructure. We've gotten the growth corridor up to speed with the infrastructure for water, wastewater, and gas. But the infrastructure that affects the day-to-day citizens here in Cecil County has been let go. It would be a shame that, we talked about and bragged about all this infrastructure work that we had done, and yet maybe driving here this evening, your car had been damaged on the way here. That would seem ironic. But to just focus on the aesthetic point of view from there, I think we're leaving some things out. I think we're leaving out what the impact is on the citizens of Cecil County each and every day. We drive those roads to go to work. Our children go on those roads to go to school. We can't have them be in a state of disrepair that they are today.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Couch.
I believe that that we do have some not so aesthetically pleasing parts of Route 40. This is true. I do know some of the business owners that are part of the unattractiveness of Route 40. I agree with Mr. Mcdowell that we need to be responsive and responsible to those business owners that have been great members of our county, some of which have upwards of 90 to 100 employees. So we have to take that into account, that they are good partners in Cecil County, that they're providing jobs, and those people live here, work here. But we could probably still do better. We have to do everything we can to work with those entities and really figure out what is the best way to make Cecil County a attractive and a nice place to not only live, but to drive through and to work. So, thank you.
Okay.
Do you believe the current tax rates should be lowered, stay the same, or be raised? Please explain. If you believe taxes should be lowered, by how much? How much revenue will be lost due to this tax reduction? What departments or services will you reduce?
The first thing I would say, there's an initiative in Annapolis now to bring land appraisal back to the counties. I fully support that. I think if the county has input and oversight in county appraisals, the taxing situation is much easier to deal with. As well, it's much more pleasant for the landowner because they're dealing with people they know and not somebody in an office that won't pay attention to them. I believe there is cost savings in state government or in county government. I think there's public-private partnerships to be had. I don't think they've been explored. I think there's huge savings and consolidation within departments to save money. But I do not have a specific answer for how much they should be lowered. I am a firm believer in constant yield. I think just because the county doesn't raise its tax rate, everybody's taxes are going up anyway because of assessments. And I think that's a huge problem. So, thank you.
Okay.
There we go. No? There we go. Thank you, Mr. Circle, for the question. And the answer to that question is not as simple as just should taxes be raised, lowered, kept the same. There's an awful lot of work that needs to be done prior to making those decisions. We have to look at our spending first and foremost. Taxes and revenues are there and they've been increased within the county. I believe that we have overtaxed our citizens to the tune of $7.5 million in the last fiscal year, 7.8 the year before that, and we're at $3 million over surplus in this year. That's an indication that we've overtaxed our citizens. But we need to go back into our budget process, look at spending, find areas and identify areas where overspending has occurred, make adjustments, do the proper analyzation, and find out if in fact we are in a position to lower those taxes. I don't believe that there's an answer for that at this point in time without actually going in and doing that work first. It would be preemptive. We would take a shot in the dark, and we wouldn't actually be responsible to the citizens of Cecil County. I had someone actually talk to me recently at a meet and greet forum that we had, and he said, you know, I just wasn't actually looking for you to lower taxes, but I wanted more bang for my buck. I wanted the services, I wanted what the county has promised me in return for those taxes. So I think we've got a lot of work to do. I'm happy to get in there and do that work, and I think at the end of the day, we'll come to a reasonable conclusion about where taxes in Cecil County should be.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. I do believe taxes should be lowered, and I have in fact done the crunching of the numbers. I believe we can lower our property taxes and our income taxes. We can roll back the current county executive's tax increases. If we were to do this, we would see a $10 million number there. And that $10 million, it may seem like a lot, but we are actually, let's see, almost 8 million, 2 years in a row has been our surplus so far. So we have not really seen a balanced budget, because what we've seen is we've seen the citizens overtaxed, and we've seen a surplus of nearly $8 million 2 years in a row, and we're on par for the same thing this year. So that being said, we would really not need to cut services as some fearmongers would have you believe. I think that's a pretty good answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Number one, I do not believe that tax rates should be reduced. The tax rate currently is 1.41, 1.041. It's seventh in the state of Maryland. Our income tax is 3%. 17 counties are above our rate or higher, at a rate or higher. If we were to reduce the rate, we would have to decrease services. Every penny that we reduced, it would cost this county $1,010,000. At the present time, we are on a road to recovery. We've established a solid credit rating. We have put Cecil County in a solid financial position. We are capable of paying our bills. We basically have retained good employees, which would have gone other places had we not. And we've also created a quality of life that I truly believe that the citizens of this room enjoy. We've created a Calvert Park, a Brantwood Park. We've basically been able to properly fund the volunteer fire companies to the highest level they've ever been provided. The Cecil County Sheriff's Office, even though they're missing some deputies, we have the money aside. It's just hard to find qualified people to do this. Cecil County is on a forward path up. There is not a person in the state of Maryland that does not know about the extensive development of our county, and it's been for the benefit of the people. What we have done is we have expanded this tax base so greatly that I will not have to raise taxes anymore. To go back would be regressive. It would hurt the county. It would certainly hurt the public school system. It would hurt the sheriff's office. It would hurt emergency services. I couldn't even conceive of this. If we were to do this, I wouldn't even want this position.
Thank you, Dr. The largest segment of the county operating budget is allocated for education. Included in this allocation are the public school system, public library system, and Cecil College. Does Cecil County operating budget provides sufficient funding for our local education institutions? Please provide a rationale. And are the graduates of Cecil County Public Schools and Cecil College and/or career ready?
In my opinion, that the Cecil County Public School System, the library system, as well as the college are not funded to the degrees they should be. I think that we need to really look to the future. I basically have a program which addresses the future needs of this county. By looking at what we need today and not looking at what we need tomorrow, and the end results of what we do today are basically going to inhibit and basically decrease our ability to move forward. I've never seen a position in my life where austerity brought prosperity. We need to invest in the organizations that will basically create the society that we really truly want as citizens of Cecil County. We want people that are educated, are motivated, are good civic citizens, and by doing what you suggested, or what I'm suggesting, is that we fund these things properly, I think we will create a citizen or a group of citizens which will lead Cecil County into the future, and very proudly.
Well, my first part of that answer for this question has to do with funding and what we're going through in Annapolis. And everybody talks about Kerwin. Well, Kerwin is just renaming Thornton. Thornton was a bill established in the early 2000s to greatly increase funding. One trouble, they elected a Republican governor, and they never funded it fully. This is the second attempt to add funding to the school system, most of it mandated, and I believe that our local citizens, the teachers, the parents, the business owners should have input on what the educational system is in this county, not somebody that lives in Washington, D.C. or Baltimore. With that said, I believe our school system is funded very well. I think there's programs that need to be considered for future funding. One of them is Dr. Larson's concept of 3 hours after school. We talk about crime, we talk about opioid addiction. We need to have a program that helps our young people stay engaged and get involved, whether it be learned behavior for community service, whether it be extra intramural sports, something to help these young people find something to do. I think that's critical. Is everybody that graduates from school, the school system ready? My daughter-in-law is a recruiter for an employment agency, and I will tell you based on what she's told me, they're not. Many of them don't know how to go to work, they don't know how to dress, they don't know how to do an interview, they have very few personal skills to help them get ready for a job. That should be part of our educational system. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
As for Cecil County Public Schools education, I support the Board of Education and will support their budget requests as long as they allow us to spend within our means. I do think that open communication is of utmost importance, and I've already met with Dr. Lawson as well as other parties within the Board of Education about some of these issues. I especially support vocational training as a way to train our emerging workforce for productive careers, including the Basil Plant School in Elkton, former Basil Plant School. So as far as the Kerwin Commission, it is definitely looming over us, and I am concerned about the future of the Kerwin Commission and what impact it may have on our county. I believe it is looking like 2025, maybe the earliest that it would impact our county. I don't have a crystal ball, but we have to be concerned about these things. I do think that we need to take care to examine ways that county money can be saved in the meantime. That's the best approach to prepare for this, given the uncertainty of the next 4 years. I do think that Cecil County education is of utmost importance, And I believe that we also need to focus on apprenticeship programs. I think they would serve us well and serve our children well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It's obviously a question that is on the forefront of all of our minds. It is, in fact, the largest portion of our budget allocation each and every year. First, I'd like to say that the teachers here in Cecil County have done an amazing job with the resources that they've had to work with. The administration has, for CCPS, has worked diligently to balance its budget, oftentimes even dipping into its own fund surplus. I talk to Dr. Lawson on a regular basis, and yes, he has concerns. Do I think that we are adequately funding our schools? Yes. But I know that we would like to do more. There's always more that we could do. We would like to have our teachers' salaries increased. And there are concerns coming down the road. Dr. Lawson has directed our attention to these. It's 2021 when we start to feel the impact. Will it become worse? Absolutely. Kerwin will have an impact. Anytime that you have unfunded mandates, they have an impact. It's me telling you, you have to do this. You asking me how am I going to pay for it? And I say, I don't know. That's up to you. We have challenges coming down the road, Kerwin being one of them. We have other challenges, and I heard it spoken to in the earlier forums that we talked about tonight. We need to empower our teachers to bring standards back to the schools and to the students, not just on paper, but in the classroom. Listen, my father was a teacher for 25 years. My family is keenly aware of the sacrifices that teachers make on a daily basis. As far as the efficiency of our schools, our School of Technology has done a great job. They are preparing students for jobs outside of college bound. We're preparing students for apprenticeships and trades. That's important. We have jobs coming that will need the workforce to fill those. If we talk about Cecil College, you can't help but understand that we have perhaps the most outstanding nursing program in the state. Our pass rate is 100%. Can't argue with that. So do we adequately fund our schools? I believe we do. We always want to do better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So next, we're going to do something different yet again. We're going to do what I think we've called the lightning round here. And the question is this. They're being handed a piece of paper, and if you're to be elected county executive, when you determine the allocation of resources, please rank the following in the order of importance, with 1 being the most critical consideration and 6 being the lowest priority. And everybody can see what the categories are. We'll give you a minute to fill that in. Okay, so if everybody has their answers, we'll give each candidate 1 minute to go through their list of priorities and give their rationale. And again, the order was determined by the draw of a card, and we'll go in the order of Mr. Couts, Mr. McDowell, Dr. McCarthy, and Ms. Hornberger. So, Mr. Couts, 1 minute, please. Your priorities and rationale.
Thank you, Mr. Rector. I think we've covered a lot of this. It's pretty easy for me. Safety and security have to be priority number 1. It's what our county government provides for us that we can't provide for ourselves. We can't go out and hire an individual fire service for our community or for our home. We can't go out and hire an ambulance service for our community or our home that takes care of us. Those are the doctrines that every government was based on in this country. In the very beginning, it was based on protecting our borders from incoming. Number 2 was education. We've had a discussion about that. 3 was infrastructure. 4 was economic development, because 4 and economic development will cover numbers 5 and 6, and they'll help us with those things. 5, poverty. If we have good economic development in the county, poverty will be addressed. We'll have the resources to reach out to the people that need our help the most. And 6, healthy and active living. Those are the secondary issues that we now have.
Okay, thank you for that. Next we go, Mr. McDowell.
Well, I'm going to mostly agree with Bill Couts.
Thank you.
I would put education first, though, only because it's 51% of the budget and has many needs. My second choice would be safety and security, and third, infrastructure. Those 3 are the main reasons why county government exists, to provide tax dollar services to its members, to its citizens. Economic development is a team sport. The county only provides 10% of economic development funds. The state provides 90%. The last 2 are close, but poverty is over health and active living, mainly because if we have poverty problems, we have problems in our schools. So number 6 would be health and active living. Thank you.
Okay. Next, Dr. McCarthy.
Number 1 would be safety and security of all the citizens and their businesses in Cecil County. Number 2 would be education. We need to basically educate our young people so they can fill the positions that are necessary and lead us forward into the future. Economic development and infrastructure almost go hand in hand because you can't have economic development without the basic necessary utilities. Both of those are very, very important, and we would not be in the position we are in today if we did not have economic development, and we wouldn't have economic development without the infrastructure. Poverty is a major, major issue. Hopefully in due time, education and a good economic plan will basically lift people out of poverty. And lastly, with the monies that we receive from good economic development, we can have healthy and active communities.
Ms. Hornberger.
All right, so this may start to get boring for you guys. 1, safety and security. I think that public safety is of utmost importance. They take care of us, we need to take care of them, and we need to make sure we're taken care of. That's pretty simple for the health of a community. 2, education. We've talked about that as well. We need to make sure that our youth is taken care of. And then I have economic development and infrastructure inextricably linked. So we can pick 3 and 4 or 4 and 3, but I think that they are absolutely important to the health and the growth of our county. Poverty as number 5, we certainly need to work on this. And healthy and active living as number 6.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now each candidate will be given 1 minute for final remarks, and we'll go in reverse order from the opening remarks. Mr. McDowell.
Well, thank you for your time. I'm a lifelong resident of Cecil County. Matter of fact, it's more than that. There's been some member of my family here for 10 generations. I live and breathe this stuff. I care about it. My kids are going to be the next generation on the farm. We have a very interesting farm. We have an original land grant from Lord Baltimore. It's never had an acre added to it or taken away from it since 1792. It's very important to me to preserve our farms. The quality of life is important. If we continue with the growth strategies we're on, a lot of us aren't going to like to live here. We need to have moderation and common sense. We need to do everything we can to assist our education system. I come from an education family. I know how important it is. But I also think we have to have local involvement in the type of education our young people get. It shouldn't be mandated to us without our input. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Dr. McCarthy.
Fellow citizens, like you, I have a vested interest and a strong desire to create a better Cecil County for all. I'm a proven leader with a record of accomplishments that benefit all citizens. We in Cecil County have the highest GDP growth for mid-sized counties in the Mid-Atlantic region. We have the 2nd highest job growth in Maryland, the 3rd highest wage growth in Maryland. We have balanced the budget 3 consecutive times without the use of the unassigned funds. We've created over 4,000 jobs in less than 3 years. We've consistently supported public schools. We've built the first new public school in over 30 years. We are building a central library. We've reduced crime, and opioid deaths are now down. We've funded the volunteer fire companies to the highest degree ever. Together, we can build a better future, especially for our young people, so they will remain in Cecil County and raise their families. With your...
Thank you, Dr. McCarthy. Okay, goes next to Ms. Hornberger, please.
I'm the only candidate up here without CBL ties. I'm in this for the people of Cecil County, not for special interests. When I was a kid, I always stuck up for the underdog, the kid that was being bullied. I look at this as my opportunity to continue to do that, but on a larger scale. The citizens of Cecil County are the underdog, and they need someone to stick up for them. That's me. I was chosen by the Trump campaign because I am a true conservative who believes in draining the swamp and getting things done. I know we can cut taxes and do better for Cecil County citizens. We have crunched the numbers, and it can be done. With a nearly $8 million surplus each of the last 2 years and on target for the same this year, money should be going back into the pockets of Cecil County families so we can take care of our families and put more money into the local economy. I'm Danielle Hornberger, and I won't waste your vote. Thank you.
Mr. Katz.
I'd like to thank our moderator sponsors and Cecil College for hosting this forum this evening. I applaud all the candidates for being here. My greatest appreciation goes to those in the audience for being here and engaging in this important part of our election process. I was kind of thinking while I was sitting up here and we were talking about all of these different things, and something that happened to me recently came to mind. I was driving down Route 40 and I came upon a mother, 2 children that had several grocery bags. We stopped, got them loaded up into the car. She said my husband had to return the cart. He caught up with us. We drove home. I said, you know, we had to have the groceries this week, but we didn't have enough money for gas. We didn't have enough for both. They're not part of that economic growth. They both work. They're just struggling to make ends meet. That economic growth didn't impact them. Their economy was from the front door to the back door.
Thank you, Mr. Katz. That ends the county executive. Let's give a big round of applause for all our candidates. There's so many people to thank. I just want to start by thanking our panelists here tonight, Josh, Lori, Sharon, and Scott for being here tonight. I want to thank the sponsors for this evening for making this happen. Cecil College for hosting this, and our theater crew, Dan and Will. And thanks to Mario and to Carl for being here tonight and making it happen. Remind you that the primary election will be held on Tuesday, April 28th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Early voting for the primary will be available beginning Thursday, April 16th through Thursday, April 23rd, and that will be at the County Administration Building. I also want to thank the audience here tonight. You know, you were very respectful for it. Respectful tonight. I hope this was informative for you. And I think as a result of this, we're all better informed, and I think we can feel good about the future of Cecil County. So again, thank everybody, drive safe, and take care.